But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying it.
In August 2024, the internet nearly broke when one headline came out of nowhere. Toni Braxton had secretly married Brian Birdman Williams. No announcement. No paparazzi. No family leaks. Just a quiet ceremony, quickly followed by something even more shocking, a split, only 2 days later. That's right. Toni Braxton and Birdman were married and separated within 48 hours. Fans were stunned. After years of speculation, on-again, off-again romance, and social media clues, they finally tied the knot only to walk away before the ink had time to dry. So, what really happened? Why would an R&B queen and a hip-hop mogul plan a secret wedding, only to back out of forever before it even began? Some insiders claim the relationship had been rocky for years. Others say Toni felt pressure, not from Birdman, but from her own fear of being alone. And then there are whispers of a deeper reason. That the wedding was never meant to last, but to protect something or someone. Was it about love, or was it about legacy? Toni has never fully explained what led to the sudden split. And Birdman? He stayed almost completely silent, which only fuels the mystery. What if the wedding wasn't a fairy tale ending but a strategic move? What if the real story is less about romance and more about survival? Toni Braxton wasn't just a successful artist, she was a global sensation. A Grammy-winning R&B icon who sold over 70 million records worldwide. Her voice defined a generation, and her albums brought in more than $170 million in sales. To the world, Toni had it all: fame, fortune, and success. But what fans didn't see was the financial nightmare unfolding behind the spotlight. Despite her superstar status, Toni Braxton filed for bankruptcy not once, but twice. She was millions in debt, even as her music continued to dominate charts and airwaves. How does a woman with that level of success end up broke? It started with the contracts. Her first record deal paid her just a fraction, reportedly less than 35 cents per album sold. By the time managers, lawyers, stylists, and taxes took their share, Toni was left with almost nothing. Meanwhile, the labels and executives made millions. She was the face of the brand, but not the one cashing the checks. When she started speaking up, the industry labeled her difficult. But she wasn't reckless, she was being robbed in plain sight. Toni's financial struggles weren't about poor choices. They were the result of a system that exploited her talent and silenced her voice. And the deeper the crisis got, the more personal the betrayals became. Because some of the pain didn't just come from the industry, it came from within her own family. Behind Toni Braxton's glamorous red carpet looks and multi-platinum albums was a truth far less sparkling. Toni wasn't just an R&B icon, she was the backbone of her entire family. It started early. After her parents' messy divorce, Toni stepped into a role no young woman should have to play: caretaker, peacekeeper, and provider. She wasn't just chasing music dreams, she was holding her fractured family together. While most rising stars focus on fame and freedom, Toni was paying bills for everyone. Her mother, Evelyn, was strong-willed, but financially strained. Toni promised to take care of her. That meant car insurance, house payments, everyday expenses. Month after month, year after year. Then came motherhood. Twin boys. Now she wasn't just supporting her past, she was responsible for the future too. And yet, very few stepped up to help her. Sure, the Braxton sisters shared the spotlight on reality TV. But when it came to real responsibility, the weight fell on Toni. Except for one, Tamar. The youngest sister may have clashed with Toni on screen, but behind the scenes, Tamar was often the only sibling who tried to lighten the load, emotionally and financially. But even that bond had its limits. Imagine being a global superstar and still feeling broke, exhausted, and alone in your own family. Toni carried them through their struggles, through the spotlight, through it all. And that pressure? It didn't just affect her bank account. It shaped her choices in love, in life, and in silence. Because sometimes, when the world is watching, the one thing you can't afford is to fall apart. Toni Braxton was on the verge of yet another comeback. A Las Vegas residency, the dream gig. Big stage, big money, big future. She'd invested everything into it: money, energy, hope. But then, her body said no. Toni was diagnosed with lupus, a cruel autoimmune disease that doesn't just take your energy, it attacks your organs, your joints, your heart. And it doesn't care if you're a Grammy winner. The pain was unbearable. Performing? Impossible. She had no choice but to cancel the entire Vegas run, a devastating decision, because every dollar she'd saved was tied up in that show. What followed? Her second bankruptcy. In 2010, Toni filed again, this time owing between $10 million and $50 million. But this wasn't her first time at financial rock bottom. Back in the late 90s, at the height of her fame, she had already filed for bankruptcy once. Why? Because despite selling millions of albums, her record deal was so lopsided, she was earning less than $2,000 in royalties. Yes, less than $2,000. She owed more to her label than she made. Private jets, tours, music videos, all billed to her. She was a star, living off loans and illusions. 2 bankruptcies. 1 lifelong illness. And yet, she kept going. Most celebrities hide their financial mess. Toni lived it publicly, painfully, and still got back on stage. Because for her, survival was never just physical. It was financial. It was emotional. It was personal. Behind the scenes of Toni Braxton's glamorous career was a family reality show that turned into a war zone. On Braxton Family Values, fans saw the truth unravel, not just sisterhood, but survival, resentment, and betrayal. Tamar was always quick to remind everyone. She never charged Toni a dime to sing at her shows. She did it out of love. But not all sisters felt the same. Trina? Tawanda? They demanded a paycheck, even if it was just helping out their own sister on stage. Toni was stunned. This wasn't just about money. It was about principle, loyalty, family. She felt taken advantage of, like they saw her success as something they were owed. And it didn't stop there. While Tamar quietly covered bills, paid for things behind the scenes, other sisters expected a cut. Not support, a share. Tensions exploded on camera. Petty arguments. Silent treatments. Years of buried resentment finally aired in front of millions. Fans watched in disbelief as the Braxtons turned on each other. Each episode adding fuel to a fire that had been burning quietly for decades. And Toni? She was caught in the middle. The oldest sister. The breadwinner. The icon. All she ever wanted was to lift her family up. But somehow, she became the one they resented. This wasn't just family drama. This was family betrayal. Sometimes, love comes when you least expect it and when you need it the most. For Toni Braxton, that love came in the form of a longtime friend, Birdman. Their connection wasn't sudden. They had been close for over a decade, attending baby showers, plays, and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. But everything changed around 2016 when Toni's health took a turn for the worse. Lupus was no secret struggle, but Birdman became something more than a friend. He became her soldier, her constant support in the darkest times. He was there every night asking, "Are you okay? Are you holding up?" Someone who didn't expect her to be Wonder Woman, just Toni, with all her vulnerability. Their friendship turned romance, and in 2018, Birdman proposed, reportedly gifting Toni a stunning $1 million engagement ring. Fans were ecstatic, finally. Toni had a partner who truly understood her battles. But the fairy tale didn't last. By 2019, they split, leaving fans shocked and speculating. How does a couple so connected, so devoted, suddenly fall apart? And why would Toni later secretly marry Birdman, only to separate just days after? This love story isn't just about romance. It's about survival, trust, and the weight of secrets kept behind closed doors. Just when you thought you knew the full story, a shocking twist changes everything. In August 2024, Toni Braxton and Birdman pulled off a secret wedding completely under the radar. According to court documents first reported by TMZ, the couple quietly said "I do" on August 8th. But the fairy tale was breathtakingly short-lived. Just 48 hours later, Toni filed paperwork listing their separation date as August 10th, only 2 days after the ceremony. It gets even more jaw-dropping. 2 weeks after their wedding, Toni officially filed for divorce, calling the marriage irretrievably broken. But here's the real curveball. In January 2025, Toni suddenly dismissed the divorce petition and Birdman agreed. That means, technically, they're still married. A secret wedding. A split in 2 days. A dropped divorce months later. What could possibly explain this? Rumors are swirling. Speculation is running wild. Was this a business move? A legal strategy? Or something far more complicated? One thing's for sure, this isn't just a love story. It's a mystery that has fans and insiders buzzing. And the truth behind this whirlwind marriage may never be fully revealed. Since the news of Toni and Birdman's secret wedding and lightning-fast split broke, the internet has been buzzing with rumors.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have...
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication